It's fair to say that a change is about to come at Bayern Munich. It's going to be out with the old like Robben and Ribery and in with the new. But who's going to replace those two wingers that have been there for so long? And who's going to step in to fill the boots of Mats Hummels and Jerome Boateng should one of them leave? Well, that's what I'm going to present to you in the next few minutes with the 5 players that Bayern Munich should be signing in the January transfer window. First up, and we start with a transfer that's actually been on the cards for a while now, and it's pretty surprising that it didn't happen in the summer. It seems as though it's more of a case of when and not if Benjamin Pavard moves from Stuttgart to Bayern Munich. It's a natural progression for most players in the Bundesliga that when you start playing really well at one of the smaller teams, you get snapped up by the giants that are Bayern Munich. But apparently it's because of them that this didn't happen in the summer, just weeks after Pavard was part of the World Cup winning squad with France. This is because at the time, Munich said they didn't need any defenders, and 6 months later, how wrong they have been proven. Apparently next summer there will be a £35 million release clause in Pavard's contract, which could see him move to the Allianz Arena. However, with so much interest in the young French defender, they might want to do their business a little bit earlier, in January for example, to stop the likes of Barcelona stepping in. This is because Barca have been in the market for a defender for quite a while now. PK is reaching his peak years and maybe on the decline soon. Titi has some regular injury concerns, and Vermaelen and Longley just aren't up to the task. One's a bit too old, the other not quite old enough. So Benjamin Pavard could step in and fill that role. He's quick, strong, good on the ball, and is versatile as he can play along the whole back four. Of all the transfers on this list, I think this is probably the one that is most likely to happen sooner rather than later, but overall will definitely go through. Now, our second player on this list is the first of 2 players who are currently plying their trade in Ligue 1 in France, and he's definitely someone who deserves a shot at the Champions League. But I'm not sure he's going to get it with Marseille, seeing as they're 6th in the table and crashed out of the Europa League with some pretty poor performances this year. You may remember his name from an ill-fated spell at Newcastle a few years ago, but believe me, Florian Thauvin is a completely different player nowadays. This season he scored 11 goals and got 2 assists in 15 games in Liga, and that's all from attacking midfield. Add to this the fact that in the last 2 seasons he's got 37 goals. I mean, that's more than most strikers get in Europe. It's no wonder that a lot of big clubs are looking at his signature. As I mentioned before, both Robbery... I've done the opposite thing. As mentioned before, both Arjen Robben and Frank Ribery are leaving, and across the attacking 3, Thomas Muller's not exactly doing what he used to do, and to rely on Lewandowski solely is difficult for Bayern Munich. This is where Thauvin can come in. He can play anywhere across the front line and can help chip in with more than a few goals to supplement the slow Bayern attack. And I say slow because if any of you have watched them this season, it is painful watching their build-up play. It's so slow, and the lack of creativity in the middle, aside from Thiago, is something they really need to improve on. So, in could come Florian Thauvin. Now, much like Thauvin, our third player on this list comes from Ligue 1 and again is wanting to move on despite being fully reintegrated back into his squad. I say reintegrated because Lyon captain Nabil Fekir actually failed a Liverpool medical last summer. He then came back to the squad, and you can guess they weren't all too happy with him wanting to leave and then having to come back into the team. But he has fitted back in really well, and he's even led Lyon to the knockout stage of the Champions League where they'll face Barcelona. So why would he want to leave when they're 3rd in the table? Well, it's because realistically they'll never have a chance of finishing 1st. Not in this current era of PSG dominance anyway. They are 13 points behind the league leaders, and for the same reason that anyone from Lille, from Lyon, from Marseille, even from Monaco would want to leave, is because they can't get anywhere near PSG. Such is the quality of the player that rumours always swirl around his name, and the calibre of club that he's been linked with do him justice. Much like with Florian Thauvin coming in, he can play all along the front line, and especially in that number 10 role where James Rodriguez looks unlikely to stay at Bayern Munich past the end of this season. He could be off to Juventus, which means that there could be a spot in the number 10 position for Bayern Munich, which Nabil Fekir could fill brilliantly. Not only this, but he'll also get a chance to join up with his French compatriot Kingsley Coman, who has said that he would love to have Fekir in Munich with him, and it would be an honour to line up alongside him. Well, I guess that 1 or 2 personal friendships would certainly help, and if he needs to look to another Frenchman to recommend Bayern Munich, I'm sure Frank Ribery will only be too happy to help. In at number 4 is someone that they really should have bought in the summer if they were to back new manager Niko Kovac. And if they're to stick with him again, they need to bring Ante Rebic in January. Now, this is obviously going to pull away a main cog in Frankfurt's fantastic team this season. However, that's never been stopping Bayern Munich before, and I'm sure they'll want to do it again. As mentioned, back in the summer, Bayern Munich usually bring in one of the players that the new manager desperately wants. It's sort of a welcoming gift, and it helps bring in his style into the squad. They didn't do that, and things went from bad to worse for Kovac, to the point where he was on the brink of being sacked. However, at the moment, Bayern's form has turned around ever so slightly, and they're just 3 points behind Dortmund at the moment. This being said, they still need to improve, and bringing in Ante Rebic in January will only help them do that. He was fantastic in the summer as Croatia made the final of the World Cup, and to be honest, I can't see him not wanting to join. At the moment, he probably won't take over Robben and Ribéry's place straight away, but with those guys saying they're leaving at the end of the year, it's the perfect opportunity to bring Rebic in, get him used to the club for 6 months, and then when the summer comes, he'll be fully integrated and ready to hit the ground running. And lastly on this list is another player who literally has Bayern Munich written all over him. And that's just because the club cannot stop talking about him. Former great Lothar Matthäus has said that Bayern always needs to have the best German players in their squad, and Timo Werner is exactly that. He's been banging in the goals with RB Leipzig, and again, like with Benjamin Pavard, it seems like the natural progression that one day he'll end up signing for Bayern Munich. Now, Lothar Matthäus is not the only person who said that Bayern should have signed him, as Jupp Heynckes, when he was manager there, said that Timo Werner should already have been a Bayern Munich player and they need to go after him immediately. This has also been backed up by Uli Hoeneß, who said that he wants to develop some of the young talents in Germany rather than just go for the big money stars. Now, I'm not saying Timo Werner won't cost a lot, because he will, but at the age of just 21, he's got plenty of room to grow into one of the top deadliest strikers in Europe, and Bayern Munich can certainly help him do that. At the moment, he's currently only on a contract until 2020, which is in about 18 months' time, meaning that if he's still at RB Leipzig next summer, Bayern will definitely move for him, as RB won't want to risk letting him go on a free transfer the following year. This could also knock down his price somewhat, so signing Timo Werner for anything under 50 million is a bit of a steal. So there you have it, the 5 players that Bayern Munich could sign in January, and failing that next summer if they're to improve their situation at the moment. As mentioned before, they're not too far off Dortmund, although despite that minor glitch last week, Dortmund are still looking in fantastic form and could be on course for their first title in 6 years. Having said that though, you guys let me know in the comments section below who you think Bayern Munich should bring in and whether or not any of these players on this list will actually join. Of course, you can smash the like button and click here to check out all of the other videos that we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.